So a very big welcome to everybody who's joined us tonight on the webinar entitled How to Go About Meeting a Soulmate Who Shares Your Faith in the 21st Century. I'm Katharine Gray, the founder and director, and I'm going to be taking you through this webinar today. So very, very big welcome to everyone. So it's going to last about 40 minutes to an hour. I've got some great content for you. And I've even got a fantastic offer. So if you stay through to the end, which I hope you will, I hope it'll be engaging enough for you to stay. I've got a lovely offer, a special deal for you. Now I can see some other people are arriving, so I'll just let them get going. There is the option to put comments into the comments box as you watch this webinar as we go along. I can't respond to them because obviously I'm presenting, but they will come through to me by email and I will respond to them as soon as I can after the webinar's finished. So let's make a start, and I'm going to start by giving you an overview of what we're going to be covering in this session today. So we're going to give you a bit of background in terms of what it involves finding a soulmate in today's society, and then we're going to talk about whether it's worth going it alone or getting some help. And then if you do decide to get some help, the differences between online and offline organisations. And if you do decide to go with an organisation to help you, I'm going to share with you some tips of things you need to look for in any organisation you do join, even if that's one you pay for or even if it's free. And then I want to talk about what Heavenly Partners can offer you in particular and what makes our members successful in finding their soulmate. I've got lots and lots of things to give you to think about. We're going to end with that, and then we're going to have a Q&A session at the end. Before we get into all of that material, let me just talk about the timing of this. Now, it's absolutely brilliant that you're on this webinar because the best time is now for you to be thinking about dating and what you're going to do about it and finding a partner. You know, life is so short. I don't know about you, but for me, it's rushing by, and it probably is for you too. You've probably been single for a while now, and you don't want this to be the case any longer. And if that's the case, there is no time like today to do something about it. Let me just give you a little bit of some thinking about this. Think about how many days you've got left in your life. The average age of a person is about 80, they say. So if you do a little exercise, you times 80 by 365, that's the number of days in a year, you'll get a total of 29,200. Now, work out how many days you've got left. So supposing you're 50, let's take a middle of the range age there. Do 50 times 365 and then take that number away from the 29,200. Now, if you're 50, you'd have 10,950 days of life left. That's a very sobering thought, isn't it? It is definitely time to get what you want. And again, I say it's a very good thing that you're on this webinar because I hope it's really going to help, and I hope what I'm going to share will be very helpful to you. My name is Katharine Gray. Now, I set Friends First Up, which is the UK counterpart of Heavenly Partners, in 1999, and we used to call it Friends First in Ireland, but then we realised there was a large insurance company called the same name as us, so we changed our name to Heavenly Partners, but we're actually all part of the same organisation. So I set it up in 1999 in response to a speaker at a church weekend away. She was called Elaine Storkey, and she called out for us to do something for single people. And I thought, yes, that's definitely something I could do. But also it came out of a personal experience because I knew at that time I was single. I'd been looking for someone, finding it really difficult. And I although I had boyfriends, I was struggling to find someone who shared my faith. So I'm somebody who has been in your situation. I'm somebody who really wanted to find someone to share my faith with as a long-term partner. And I'm pleased to tell you that since I set Heavenly Partners up, hundreds of people have found relationships through us and have got married. More than that, we've been featured in a lot of local and national press, and our couples have been featured on BBC TV. And I've also won quite a lot of awards. particularly the Wise Woman Award, which is a wonderful, wonderful award that I got for running a business that makes a real difference in the community. I suppose I'm telling you all this because I'm talking from a position of experience here. So I want you to realise that I do know what I'm talking about. And you don't get these sort of accolades and the press interest if you don't do what you do well. So I hope that what I share with you is going to be really useful and that you know it's coming from someone who has a lot of experience in this area. Let's get going then and talk about our subject, finding a soulmate today. Now, there are three things here. I think there's a bit of a problem with finding a soulmate today. So we're going to talk about what that problem is. And as Christians, we're going to be looking at what does God think about this problem and how we might solve it. And then we're going to look at what are your options for finding your soulmate. So let's start with the first one then, the problem. Is it easier than ever before to find someone? I think society makes us feel that it is easier than ever before. Certainly, the number of dating apps and the number of websites and the number of people talking about singleness might give you an impression that it is easier than ever before to find someone. And yet the number of singles in our society would indicate that it's harder than ever before. Times have definitely changed and the way we relate to each other has massively changed. So much is done online, on our mobiles nowadays, on our computers than has ever been the case, obviously, than ever before. And I personally feel this is not great for relationships. I think social media is deteriorating the quality of our relationships because we don't really communicate deeply on a one-to-one, face-to-face basis with each other like we used to. Furthermore, we're all so busy nowadays. It's really hard to find the time to be with people, to spend quality time with people, to make that real connection. And I think that makes it very difficult to find people. And it's not like buying a sofa, which you can just go into a shop, find one that you like and bring it home. Finding a soulmate is much harder than that. And if you're a very, very busy person, carving out the time to find someone is also very difficult. Furthermore, I think we're lonelier than we've ever been before. Despite all the social media and the connections we have, I really do feel that as a society, people are lonelier than they've ever been before. And in fact, if you read the newspapers and look at the statistics, that is very much borne out the case. And I think loneliness is perhaps one of the biggest diseases that's coming our way. And yet the desire for a relationship and for companionship remains absolutely an immutable fact. It's part of the way God created us. Back in the Garden of Eden all those years ago, we see that we were made for relationships. Adam was lonely and man was lonely, and that's why God provided us with companions. We are definitely made for relationships, but I don't necessarily think we're all made for marriage. And obviously, we're all made to be in relationship with others. And I suppose that is why you're on this webinar, because the desire to be in a relationship is an innate desire for all of us. I do think, though, it's even harder for Christians. If you're looking for that someone special to share your life with who shares your faith, that does make it even harder because the numbers of Christians in our country is declining. And certainly people don't go around with a sign on their forehead saying, A, I'm single, and B, I'm a Christian. So you can talk to me if that's what your criteria is. So it narrows down the field and it does make it harder. But we have one fabulous, great advantage. We have the Lord on our side and he has our best interests at heart. And if you take nothing else from this webinar, be encouraged by that fact that you have a wonderful God and Saviour on your side who's looking out for you and wants the very best for you. What does God think of this area of our lives then? Let's look at that aspect now. Well, first of all, we have a loving Father who wants to lavish you with love. Irrespective of what your journey has been and how long you've been single for, don't lose sight of that fact that he is a loving father that really wants to do the best for you. You are the apple of his eye, and he loves to give you good gifts. But he does answer our prayers, but we do have to do things ourselves. So if you've been praying but not doing anything about it practically, then it's very difficult for God to answer your prayers. So we always say, pray as if it all depended on him, but act as if it all depended on you. It's just like finding a new job or a new house. Dating and finding someone can be compared to that. You can't just sit at home praying about it and hope that a new job or a new house will just magically appear on your lap. No, with finding a new job or a new house, you get out there, you take massive action, don't you? You put a lot of effort in. And I would say that's the same with dating. Lots of people think that if God wants them to meet someone, he'll just bring them to them. But I don't personally hold that view. I personally hold the view that you have to pray hard and then act hard. So keep that in mind. And sometimes this acting involves getting some help. We'll come on to that a bit more. Now, there are masses of examples in the Bible of human intervention in this way. So there are some great stories like the book of Ruth. Boaz and Rachel is one great example. And then in Genesis, the example of Isaac finding Rebecca. So if you're not familiar with those stories and you're a little bit worried about whether you should get some help and do something yourself, do read up on those stories because I think they'll really give you a good insight. Okay, so let's look at whether we should go it alone or whether we should get some help. Those are our two options in this area of our life. Let's start with going it alone then. It's possible that you might meet someone in the course of your everyday life. It does happen to many people, generally in their 20s and 30s at school or college or university when they get a job. But it does get harder as you get older, as your social circles become smaller and you're probably not mixing in large pools of like-minded people. And certainly the number of singles always seem very small. But there are some really good ways to meet other single people. Perhaps you can meet them through friends and family. Now, I would say if you want to meet them through this way, then that's really important to be purposeful and intentful. Tell your friends and family that you're really serious about meeting someone. You're not actually that happy on your own. You might be happy on your own, but you'd like to look forward to meeting someone. Tell them that they're not to judge the single people that they might know and decide whether they'd be right for you or not, but to allow you just to have the introduction. That's a really important thing. And actually, friends and family are a great source of single people. Even though they might say they don't know anybody single themselves, when they rack their brains, I can assure you, most people do know someone who's single. Another thing you can do is you could place an ad at all sorts of different places where you can place adverts, newspapers, local papers, society organisations, magazines, that sort of thing. You may find that elicits somebody like you who's looking for someone else. Perhaps you might meet them through your own church or other churches. It's good to visit other churches, particularly big churches that have got large numbers of people in. But I would say if you're going to visit another church, you can't just visit, you need to get involved in some way. Perhaps you might pick up the service sheets and collect them up and talk to people as you're doing that. Or you might hand out the service sheets at the beginning. That's perhaps harder to do because normally the staff of the particular church do it. But it's definitely something you can do. Perhaps hand out coffee. It's a good way to break the ice and go up to people and start talking to them. Another way you might meet people is through Christian events. Again, you need to get involved. You can't just turn up, I would say. And it's a really good opportunity to volunteer at these events to meet other people. But going it alone is hard work. You've probably already been doing this a lot, and maybe you've been really waiting on chance to see if somebody comes along. I suspect it's been taking quite a lot of your time and energy, especially if you've been purposeful about it. And certainly there's been no guarantees along that journey that you've taken about who you'll meet. And I think one of the difficult things when you're going out to people in church is that you're meeting people and or at events who aren't necessarily single. And I would say it does take a lot of hard work and a lot of guts are required. You're basically carving out your own path, and it's quite a lonely journey. So perhaps you've been doing this. Perhaps you've been waiting on chance, carving out your own path. And if that is the case, I would ask you, how's it been going? Is this strategy working for you? Have you found that you've met lots of people? Or have you found that you've met lots of people, but they actually weren't eligible because they were married, and it actually hasn't given you the results that you were hoping for? So let's look at the option of getting some help. Now, we've talked about family and friends, and they are a great source. If you go to them very intentionally and they are serious about helping you, they are a really, really good source of finding other single people for you to date and other single Christians. What other options are there then? Well, obviously there are dating agencies, and there are offline dating agencies and online dating agencies. You'll probably be very familiar with online dating agencies. I think everyone's heard of organisations like Match.com, and there are lots of apps now. Probably everyone's heard of Tinder. I wouldn't necessarily recommend either of those two. And then there are offline organisations, of which Heavenly Partners is one of them. You may or may not have had experience with both online and offline organisations, but there are lots of differences between the two. And I would just like to make you aware of what that is in case you aren't aware, because there's some very important things you need to know. We'll look at online organisations first then. So most are white label. Now, white label basically means that lots of different organisations come together under the same umbrella, but they have different doors, different front doors. So imagine a massive house like Buckingham Palace, and there are lots of different ways to enter it, and the different ways to enter it look completely different. So you might get a site that looks like it's Christian, but actually has another front door that is for people who are rugby lovers or people who are vegetarians. That's just two very, very distinct examples. And everybody who comes through the front door, or those different front doors, end up mingling together. Now, that can be quite frustrating when you think you're joining a site for Christians, and then when you get into the site, you discover there are lots of people who don't really seem Christian at all. That is generally how the majority of big online sites work, and that's how they get their members, by appealing to lots of different segments of the market and then putting them all together. The difficulty with a lot of these online sites is really working out whether they're Christian or not. They certainly look Christian on the front because they put up some Bible verses and maybe some pretty Christian pictures, but actually they're not necessarily run by Christians, and they're certainly not necessarily have exclusively Christian members. A lot of these organisations will give free trials to boost their numbers. I'm sure if you've tried any online sites, you'll be very aware that they suck you in to encourage you to have a look at who's on their books and to perhaps do a little bit of contacting with those people for free. And then after a set amount of time, or when you need to use their features, they start to charge you. And they do that to boost their numbers. So they look like they've got tens of thousands of people, but actually the number of paid people is very, very much less. They may be free or very cheap to join. Nothing wrong with that in one way, but you definitely get what you pay for. And when they are very, very free and or cheap to join, they'll be very high priced in other ways. Now, I would say high price comes at you're paying for your time, your emotional energy, and your sort of lack of support, I would generally say. So it's costing you, maybe not costing you financially, but it'll certainly be costing you in other ways. These sites are very motivated to keep you. They don't really want you leaving as soon as you've arrived, because obviously you're one of their numbers, and they want to keep their numbers high because that makes them look really good. I would say they've got very limited commitment to you. These are big businesses. We're dealing with multiple millions of people around the world often, They won't have much commitment to you as a single member. And following on from that, I would say there's very little protection if something goes wrong. You've probably heard the horror stories where people have been scammed by online dating sites, and it's very difficult to get your money back, and there's very little sort of protection, people looking out to make sure this doesn't happen to you. And in the same vein, very little support of you. Maybe it's not as bad as being scammed, but it might be, something very, very minor that you need support on. And sometimes, I've heard anyway, that it's quite difficult to get support from these organisations. They are a great place for undesirables, the dark side of the net, and also even not so much dark, but just people who are posing. They say they're somebody but they're not, or people who are just using it as a form of fun, as a form of entertainment. That's all very well. I've got nothing wrong with that. If that's what you want, if you want to be in a place where other people are using it as a form of entertainment, that's fine. But if you are seriously searching for a partner, that may not be the best place for you. There may be no human involvement at all on some of these sites. They may be set up and then left to run electronically, let's say, without much sort of human oversight. You'll certainly be doing everything yourself. You'll be loading up your pictures, you'll be loading up your profile, you'll be doing all the searching yourself. And I would say my experience of talking to many people about online sites, it's quite hard to get to know people. Everyone's wary, everyone's heard the horror stories, nobody wants to reveal who they are. It's quite difficult to get to know people. And I would say that dating fatigue is very, very, very common. It seems exciting at first to go onto these sites and find hundreds and hundreds of people, but people get tired very quickly on them and just fed up of other people not contacting them and being honest and just being genuine, I suppose. Having said that, I don't want to completely dismiss them. They do obviously work for some people, and that's great. But I think they for most people, they come at quite a high cost in terms of emotions and time, and definitely in terms of whether they're successful for them or not. I hope you don't think I'm being too negative here, but it's a reality that most people don't know this stuff. Most people are very drawn in by the fact that they look like there are loads of people on these sites. There's always someone better looking, nicer, richer, closer, with less baggage that are a click away. These sites are designed to be very attractive, and that's, I think that's, in one way that's good, but it's really important that you do know what you're getting into and that you're aware, and that's what I'm trying to make you aware. And I'm saying this from our personal experience of talking to thousands of people who I suppose have come off sites, who've gone onto them because they thought they were cheap and that's been attractive, and yet they've realised down the line that really it wasn't perhaps the greatest thing they've done. Now, if you've had a different experience or you've had the same experience, I'd love to hear your comments, so please pop them in the box. Let me know your experiences of online sites, which sites you've used and how you've got on with them. That would be really, really great, and perhaps I can share some of that later. What about offline organisations then? These organisations will generally have some sort of website, in fact, same like Heavenly Partners does, but it'll be a poster site, so it'll be for information only, and they will direct you to talk to them very, very quickly. They'll have a lot of involvement and support from the staff of the organisation talking to members, and this is really, really key because there's a lot more to dating than meets the eye. These sort of organisations that are offline tend to be more expensive, but I would generally say they're probably better value, both in terms of time and resources, and they'll do a lot of things for you. For example, your profile, they'll give you introduction to other members, they'll give you coaching, they'll give you support. Now, with these offline organisations, the numbers of people in them will tend to be smaller. But personally, I would say they're more likely to be more genuine and committed members. And of course, you've got staff that will very much support you along the way. I think the members will be vetted and known by the organisation. That's purely on the basis that they are talking to all their members anyway. And the level of human involvement will be quite considerable. As I've said, there will be a lot of support available to you. And it's very unlikely you'll have any time wasters, not least because people are paying considerably more money than the cheap or free online site. But as I've said before, they may be more expensive, but you get what you pay for. And these sorts of organisations will do a lot of things for you. Now, in my book, support is absolutely key. We call this something around the Bananarama syndrome. The Bananarama band, there was a girl band who sang a song about Bananarama, and it was, their strapline was, "It's not what you do, it's the way that you do it," and that's what get results. And I think that's really, really important because, for example, you might do the right things, which is contact people, but you might do it in totally the wrong way. And if you do the wrong things in the wrong way, then that's doubly bad. But if you do the right things in the wrong way, then you're not going to get the results you want. So having that support and having that the encouragement of other people who are walking alongside you does make a very big difference, I would say. So that would be my take on the difference between offline and online organisations. So I've given you an overview there of the difference between online and offline. But if you're going to join an organisation, and I'm not saying which ones you should join, what should you look for in any organisation that you join, whether it's a paid organisation or a free organisation? Now, I'm assuming here that you're looking to meet a Christian. So there are some key questions I would say you need to ask. So who runs the site or organisation? Can you find out about them? Can you reach the owners? Or are the owners hidden away and unreachable? Or in fact, are they a company within a company, within a company, within a company, and actually you really have no idea who's running the show or who is running your bit of it? What are the owner's credentials? Now, it'll take hard work to find out this information, but it's your future at stake here. And particularly if you're joining an offline organisation, which is a little bit more expensive than, say, 5, 10, 20, 30 pounds a month, it's important that you're finding out where your good money is going. And it's about your future. So I think it's really worth doing the hard work, doing a bit of research and finding out about these organisations. You might want to ask, are they Christian? That's very, very important, I would say. If you're looking to meet a Christian, then you're using an organisation that knows what your values are, knows about the Christian faith, and knows what you're trying to do. What are they aiming to do as an organisation? Are they just trying to build a massive dating empire? Some of the online dating white label sites are definitely trying to do that. And there's nothing wrong with that in one way. But maybe that's not particularly aligned to what you want or aligned to your values. You're putting your future in their hands, possibly the most important decision of your life, and certainly the most important outcome in your life of finding someone really special. Are the organisation owners trustworthy? Second question to ask, or maybe not even a second question, but will it be a good process? You know, dating is a hard journey for most people. It's a very, very important journey in your life. And I would say it's important that it's a life-enhancing process, whatever the outcome. I would hate to hear our members say that the whole process has been terribly demoralising, they've got dating fatigue, and they really wish they'd never gone along that line. We want people to come out of our organisation thinking that whether they've met somebody or not, the whole process has been really life-enhancing and life-affirming. I think it's very bad news if you go online and come off really fatigued and battle-weary. That's not good for you at all. Some other questions to ask. What do you actually get for your money? What support is there along the way? What is done to protect you from scammers and fraudsters? How do you know that people are who they say they are and not hiding behind a fake name and picture? That's very important to try and find that out as well. Ask these questions before you join any organisation. Find out if the organisation is known by others and recommended. Is it known by your church, for example? Is it known by your friends? Has it got any public recommendations for its work? And I would say not just industry awards, which are almost in-house. Do they have trustworthy success stories? Can you read about their success stories? Do they sound genuine? And then perhaps, can you talk to anybody in authority, for example, in your church, about the organisation, about the owners, about the directors? What do they say about them? Like any big decision you take in life, it's about doing your due diligence. Are you wise to put your time and resources into this organisation? Now, you might think that's an awful lot of work to do, but I really do think this is a big decision you're taking in your life, and it's worth getting it right and making sure that you know where you're putting your money and where you're putting your future, and who are you putting your trust and hope in. So that was a bit of an overview of the dating industry and what's available to you in terms of offline and online organisations. Now I want to talk about what Heavenly Partners offers. Let me start by talking about our aims and desires here at Heavenly Partners. We are aiming to build the kingdom of God. We're passionate about bringing Christians together because the long-term effect of that is massive. And I'm saying that because we've been going since 1999. We've had hundreds of marriages, and I'm still in touch with many of those people who've got married years and years ago. And I'm really beginning to see the impact of their Christian marriages and what's happened and the reality of their lives together as Christians. But I guess my passion for it also was driven by the desire to set this organisation up for Christians because of what I saw through my church, which at the time was a large church in Birmingham in the United Kingdom. The vicar there was John Hughes, and I saw how he brought up his family and his children and how they've all gone on to meet other Christians, marry other Christians, and have incredible ministries as a result. I'm sure you're familiar with Tim Hughes. You might know him as a worldwide worship leader, and he is John's son, and he also has a very strong marriage with a fellow Christian. So you see, the impact and power of two people as Christians coming together is really, really massive, and it does ripple down society and down the generations. And we love seeing that, and it really, really, really inspires us to keep bringing Christians together. Now, it is a journey, and we recognise it's not all plain sailing, which is why we offer lots and lots of support in our membership. But before I come on to that, I want to also talk about the fact that in Heavenly Partners, we are very, very hot on security, safety and confidentiality. We aim to protect all our members from anyone that's unsuitable. We're constantly on the phone to members, hearing their feedback. And in our time to date, since 1999, we've been really lucky. I think there's only been one or two people that we haven't wanted on our books. Because you see, the way our service works tends to attract the right type of people and dispel the people that aren't right for us. I would say that the scammers find it very hard to get through our front door, as it were. And that's probably because we're talking to all our members and we're meeting them at events where we have them, and we're really, really hot on confidentiality and security. For example, your address is never ever given out. Even if you got engaged and rang us up to tell us that you got engaged and asked for your partner's address, we would never give it out. We have a system for hiding people's email addresses if members want to use it. And in the first instance, that's very, very useful. And we take identification from everyone who joins. We basically take your confidentiality, security and safety very, very seriously. Now, I guess you ought to know that we have a very, very committed group of members. Furthermore, our organisation is not cheap as chips to join. You can go and find those organisations out there, and the people that you'll find in them often reflect the price that they pay. Having said that, we're not that expensive. We attract a committed group of people who are also committed to finding someone else committed to the process. Part of that commitment is that there's an annual membership fee. It's a year-long commitment. We're constantly encouraging people to be proactive, and I suppose that means that you're meeting the type of people that you want to meet. They're not the here today, gone tomorrow type of people, not the fly-by-nighters. They're not sort of people who are mucking around and using it as a form of entertainment. No, the people that join us are serious about finding new friends in a relationship, and it's important that you should know that. And finally, we offer a lot of support and guidance. I've mentioned that before, and I'm going to be covering that a bit later as well. But we really think that giving people support and help is very, very important, and which is why we've got all the resources that we do that I'm going to talk about in a little bit. And finally, we've got a very good track history with operating since 1999, and we have massive support from the church leaders as well as various denominations around the country. You'll probably know that hundreds of people have found each other through us, and people do stay on our books if they don't meet someone. Not everybody meets someone straight away, but people tend to stay with us if they don't. You see, they see the benefits from membership. You see, they're learning about relationships, they're learning about confidence, they're gaining more confidence, they're learning how to do things in the right way. And as I said before, our success rate, although we've had lots of people get married through us, it's not just about getting married. It's helping people along the journey and giving them the right tools and making sure that they're moving forward. So, whatever your thoughts about which way to go, there are a few other things I'd like you to consider now. Firstly, your mindset is really, really important because how you think affects everything. For example, let's look at distance. If you're thinking about distance first, then I can absolutely assure you won't be open to everyone you can meet. So if you're thinking, oh, I can only meet somebody within a 10 mile or 20 mile radius, I'm not going to contact or even to consider anybody who's further out than that, you're restricting yourself to the possibilities that are available to you. And you're closing yourself down. Now, even if that criteria is really important to you because you've got commitments at home, you're closing your mentality down, and that will stop you meeting people. It's very, very difficult to get this point across, but it is really, really true. And if you contact somebody who lives far away from you, and they're not suitable, then you've lost nothing, but you've just discovered something about them that wasn't right for you anyway. It's the same with your criteria. Do you have a set list about the sort of person you want to meet? If you do, you're closing yourself to opportunities. I do lots of coaching on this, and it's a really, really important topic. I never want anybody to walk up the aisle with somebody they're not absolutely mad in love with. But your attitude to who you might meet, which is very much judged, very much affected by your criteria, does make a really, really big difference. How you think, you see, affects how you feel, and that affects which actions you take, which also affects the results you get. For example, I had a Scottish client who was absolutely determined he was only going to marry somebody who was white, the same ethnicity as him, and who lived in Glasgow. And he was really angry because we were sending him people who were different to that criteria. And we really struggled to change his thinking, but I think over a course of conversations we did, and very amusingly enough, he ended up marrying a nurse who came from Africa who was living in London, and they're very, very happy. You can read their story on our website. But you see, times have changed. It's not, as we said earlier on, it's not that easy to meet someone. And certainly as a woman, you can't necessarily wait for a man to make the first move. It's sadly not like that anymore. So really think hard about how you judge people, because none of us like to think we do judge. We all think we judge in the right way, but it really, really might be affecting who you meet. And remember that no one is perfect, but there is a perfect person out there for you. I also want you to consider how much time you've got for dating. It is going to take up some time, and it's really important that you make time. If you want to find someone, you can definitely do that, but you're going to have to spend some time doing it. And the same with resources. You are going to need some resources to do that. Now, whether you go it alone or get some help, you're still going to need resources. So even just going out for a drink, or taking a bus ride or a train ride, or putting some petrol in your car to go and meet someone, paying your telephone bill, going out for a meal, it all will take some resources. So think about what time and what resources you're going to spend on dating, because setting some of these aside makes the whole journey much easier. And lastly, I'd like you to think about making a decision to do something. Being in a place of indecision is really painful. Now, I'd hazard a guess that quite a few of you are on this webinar, have been thinking about dating and doing something about it for quite a long time. You might want to pop in the box if that's the case, and perhaps how long you've been sitting on the fence thinking about doing something about it. But being in the place of indecision is very painful. Ah, yes, thanks for that comment. Yep. Gosh, I can see one of our listeners has been thinking about doing something about this for 3 years now. I bet that's been 3 years of pain in a way. Sitting on the fence, as I said, is really painful. Don't sit on the fence anymore. Do something about it. Determine that this period of time, in the next couple of months, the next week, the next day, you're going to make a decision and you're going to move this part of your life forward. So let's assume you've made a decision. There are some things you need to do. It's really important that you have the right setup in dating. We call this the 3 Ps: prior, proper, preparation. See, we're going to start with your profile. A lot of people don't spend any time on their profile. And we're assuming here that you're going down the route of joining an organisation, an online or an offline one. Getting your profile right is really, really important. Now, online, the organisations are driven to get you in. They sort of rush you through your profile, and you're probably driven to see who's out there and to start getting matched. But I would say your profile is really, really important. Get it right, because it's what other people are going to be seeing of you, and it's going to be affecting their decision about whether to contact you or not. You only got one chance to make a first impression, and we want that first impression. You want that first impression to be the best it can possibly be. So, Heavenly Partners, we have into your profile. We also offer a profile telephone interview, and that makes a really big difference to get you across in the best possible way. Your photos are really important. Please, please, please don't ever use a passport photograph on any site or any organisation you join. All of our passport photographs are made to make us all look like criminals, and I don't think you'll be any different. And if you put that as a dating photograph, I can guarantee you won't have much success. That's again why we offer a professional photo shoot for all of our members. It's included in membership, because a good photo of you is really important, and I can absolutely guarantee there's no one that doesn't take a good photo. We've had thousands and thousands of members go through our professional photographers, and all the pictures come back and they're pretty amazing, I would say. And don't use holiday snaps either, because they're pretty they're not really generally very, very good. And lastly, in terms of setup, is your attitude. We talked a bit about this before. How you think determines the results you get. How are you going to go into dating? Are you going to go in thinking it's going to work, or are you going to go in thinking it's going to be a disaster? What do you want? Are you clear about what you want? Do you want new friends? Do you want a relationship? Are you desperate, or are you just happy in yourself but you'd like to meet someone? You all probably are aware that women who are desperate to have a baby come across as very desperate, and it's very, very unattractive trait. And I suppose if you're desperate to get in a relationship for the wrong reasons, that's unattractive as well. So think about where you're coming from and where you want to be. Be in the right place yourself. Know why you're going to start dating and do it for the right reasons. You see, the right thinking is very, very important. There's so much more to dating than just joining a site. As we've said before, how you think affects the way you feel, and that affects the actions you take, which affects the results you get. As we've also said, it's not what you do, it's the way that you do it, and that's what gets results. So the way you think determines how you act, and that affects your results. I suppose all of that is what has driven our membership setup, so that you get the right things in the right way. So we have a welcome call at the beginning of your membership. Part of that is about making sure your attitude is right, that you're positive about what you're doing, that you know you're doing the right thing. We have a very, very comprehensive welcome pack that again gives you advice and tips and helps you along the way. We give you relevant books to read related to your marital status, and we give you lots of resources along the way, whether it's our Cloud9 or our emails to encourage you. All of it is tailored towards the Bananarama syndrome, which we've talked about before, doing the right things in the right way. And then, of course, there's getting the right support, which is really, really important. Then I would say that Heavenly Partners is absolutely the right place for you to turn to. There's a very experienced team on our membership side, and it's the support that can make all the difference. Now, if you spent any time on our website, you'll have probably read some of our marriage stories, but just a couple here to point out. Stories of Phoebe and John. Phoebe was almost ready to give up her membership when she spoke to us, and we encouraged her to persevere, and she then went on to meet John, and they've been married for a while now. It was the same with Chris and Jill. Jill had only just joined us when she met Chris, but Chris had been a member for certainly 4 or 5 years. We couldn't understand why he wasn't meeting somebody, because he was such a lovely guy, but we again persuaded him to persevere. I think we tweaked his profile a bit, and when Jill came along, that was their match made in heaven. And the same with Stephanie and James. Now, Stephanie took a massive dislike to James's photos. I think James was using a passport photograph. This was in the days before we offered our members professional photo shoot, and she didn't want to meet him at all, but we encouraged her to see beyond the photograph, and actually she did actually then meet James and said that she would have married him the day she met. So that's the sort of thing that is a result of the input from our team. None of those people, and many more like them, I think, would have got married without some input from our team. And all of them have walked up the aisle absolutely thrilled. So our telephone support to our members is really, really important. It's not just about coaching, it's all sorts of other factors as well. Although we do have one-to-one coaching calls, and these delve deeply into what makes you tick, and perhaps if there are any blockages or any challenges for you, we will certainly help you resolve those. So let's move on now to talk about the features of our membership. We've covered a bit about it, but if you're thinking of joining us and you like what you've heard so far, it's really important you know what we've got to offer. I'm going to run through the features and benefits of our membership fairly quickly. There are other videos online you can watch about them, and many of you will have received a brochure and or seen on our Join Now page all the features that we have. Essentially, every member gets a handcrafted pen portrait, which is sent to the relevant members every month. There are 3 ways for others to contact you safely. That can be by post, using our box number system, so your address is never given out, by optional phone number if you've chosen to put that on your profile, and by email. Our service is delivered 100% offline. So it's done through the post and over the telephone. You could get the most qualified technician to search our website and you won't find any details of any member there. We can have up to 6 photographs printed on your profile. Those come from either your own photos or, as I've talked about, a professional photo shoot, which we would strongly recommend and we give to every member. You'll all receive other members' details sent to you regularly by post, and each member gets a one-to-one coaching session by phone. That's in addition to the regular telephone support, which is there whenever you need it and comes from our head office. We've talked a bit about the resources to get you going. We've got our lovely top tips book on how to make the most of your membership, and 3 fantastic books that are relevant to your marital status. So one is called How to Be the One, which is for people who've never been married. One is a book called Risking Romance Again, Dating After Divorce, for those who've been divorced or separated. And another one is called Looking for Love the Second Time Round, which is for those people who've been widowed or widowed. We also offer an enhanced an enhanced profile after a telephone interview. That's to make your profile really, really good and to make you stand out from the crowd. It's amazing what information we glean from people that they haven't put on their forms, and we can really, really write up a very, very good profile once we've chatted to people and got to know them a little better. We offer a personalised email address. So if your email address was something like mine, Katharine Gray at heavenlypartners.ie, we would change it so that it was Katharine1234 at heavenlypartners, would pop into my own email address. So it makes sure that your profile, if your email address has got your surname in it, it's not on your profile. We offer a communication or letter critique. This is more of the banana rana syndrome. You might be writing letters to people but doing it in the wrong way, or saying the wrong things, or not saying the right things that could really elicit a response. So we will offer and again we offer this to all members, to critique letters that they're sending to other members and make sure you're getting the results you want. All members get access to all our events. and they also get access to our regular motivational emails. And all members are able to access our members' video profiles. So some members will do a little video profile of themselves that goes up onto our website. It's very difficult to find if you haven't got their particular code, which you receive through the post. Then you pop that code into a particular place on our website and watch a little video of them. And that's a really lovely way to get to be seen and known. That comes across a lot better than a paper profile. We have a wonderful magazine that is called Cloud9 that comes out to all members every month. That's full of advice and news and articles of interest. We've talked about the video profiles. And then finally, we have a page that can feature a particular member in our Cloud9 magazine. And that's really, really good if you're wanting to the whole membership to see your profile rather than just people in a certain age group. So it's very good if you're somebody that thinks you look a lot younger than your age. That's a really great thing to be featured in our members magazine. The other two things we offer that are very, very important are our Open to God prayer resource. You can find out more about that resource at www.heavenlypartners.ie/open to God. That web address there you'll see on the screen. It's the most wonderful resource of hearing God in your dating journey. And I'd really encourage you to have a look at that in more detail. So just grab that address there and spend a bit of time looking at that page, because I've done another video and quite a lot of information about it. And that's very, very different to our Finding Someone Special dating toolkit. And again, there's a web address there, www.heavenlypartners.ie/finding-someone-special. And there's another video there telling you all about that. Now, those two resources are included in our Platinum membership only. They're quite expensive. They're included in Platinum, but they are absolutely amazing. So that is a quick run through of what our membership entails. And as you can see, it's pretty comprehensive. I don't think you'll find any organisation offering you so much. And we offer so much because it's important to us that you're successful, that you're doing the right things in the right way, that you're meeting the right people and being successful. That's what we aim to achieve for all of our members. Why are our members successful then? What makes them successful? Well, I hope by now you'll realise it's about starting out right. And it's learning how to be successful, doing the right things in the right way. We've talked a little bit about that, the banana rama syndrome. But other things that are really important, for example, being proactive. There's no point joining an organisation like Heavenly Partners, just sitting back for it all to happen to you. You've got to be proactive. There are organisations that will do it all for you. I was in touch with one of them recently, a matchmaking organisation that are charging £12,000 as their starter fee. And if you join an organisation like that, you really can sit back and do nothing and they will bring the people to you. But most people haven't got that sort of money. And if you're joining any other sort of organisation, you do need to be proactive yourself. We've talked about being committed to the process. That's, I suppose, part of being proactive. But make a commitment, determine that you're going to put some effort into this. Make the effort once you've joined an organisation. Contact people, keep contacting more people. It really does make a difference. And of course, as Christians, we need to pray hard about this area of our lives. We've talked about it at the beginning. It's really important to pray as if it all depended on God, and act as if it all depended on you. God is on your side and he does wonderfully answer our prayers. We're really pleased that our members enjoy our support and coaching. We get great feedback about that. And as a result, we're pleased to say that people join in ones and leave in twos. But if that doesn't happen for you straight away, don't worry, persevere, because that is another very, very important trait. And it's the perseverance that has led to so many of our members getting married. So let me take you through our membership level options. We've got 3 options, the silver, gold and platinum. The silver is really our starter option for people perhaps who just want to dip their toe in the water. Perhaps their finances aren't such to spend any more than the silver price. It's a great membership. but it doesn't include everything that we can include in the gold and platinum. You still get access to all our members, you still get access to our telephone support. As I say, it's a great membership. It is really our starter membership though. Our gold membership, which is very popular, is the next level up, and it is one of our very popular levels of service, not least because you get a bi-monthly mailing of profiles to you. That's profiles every other month. You get 4 photographs included on your profile. It does include the professional photo shoot, which the silver doesn't. There's a 20-minute coaching call included. That's on top of our regular support calls. A personalised email address, the amazing Finding Someone Special product that I was talking about before, and the enhanced profile where we do a telephone interview with you. Many people do find it very difficult to write their own profile, so that really is a great part of that membership. And it also includes the video profile, which is popular, and the 6-month membership review. So there's a lot more to the gold membership, but if you could stretch to that, it would be well worth your while, because we just think that it gives you more support, more coaching, more knowledge, all of which lead to hopefully you being more successful. Well, not more successful, but successful. And then there's the platinum level for people who really want to make sure they're benefiting from everything we can give them and are determined to do absolutely everything it takes. So that is everything included in gold, but also you get the Open to God prayer resource, a membership setup and coaching interview, which is a good sort of hour, 2 hours long, which we coach you on some really critical things we've learned over the last many years that we've been coaching people, and the dedicated page featuring you in our members magazine, which is really great if you want to make sure that your profile is going out to the whole membership, not just the people in your age range. And obviously you get the profiles every month on that level of membership. So that's really our sort of top level for people who are really serious about absolutely making sure they're going to do absolutely everything they possibly can to be successful, and they want every bit of support that we can offer them. So that's a great membership too, and you can see the prices on the page there. Now perhaps you're thinking, I need some more time to think about it. As we've talked before, the worst place to be is sitting on the fence, undecided. It is causing you stress. You might be nervous, but thinking about it makes you nervous. And I would just strongly recommend, as I've said before, make a decision. Once you get going, the nerves will go away. I promise you. I see it happen all the time, because you'll be involved, you'll be active, you'll be doing something, you'll be receiving profiles. You won't be feeling the nerves anymore. You'll be getting going on your journey. So don't think you need any more time to think about it. Or if you do need more time, give yourself a very specific amount of time and say, right, I'm going to make a decision in the next 24, 48 hours, and then stick to that time scale. Perhaps you're worried it's too expensive. But I would say to you, what price do you put on finding the right person? Also consider, what's the cost of not finding someone? How much does it cost to be on your own, to live on your own? I suspect it's costing you more than if you were with someone. We have thought a lot about the prices we charge, and we really have put a lot of value into our memberships. Really, it's immense value for money, what you get when you join Heavenly Partners. Perhaps you're wondering if you're going to meet someone local. Well, we'll certainly do our best to send you local people, but we will send you other people as well. But remember, as I said earlier on, don't limit your options. You'll be amazed at who moves to be with whom. We've had people go from Cheshire to Northern Ireland, and really when Cupid gets involved, everything changes. I know it's hard to believe that, but don't limit your future just by wanting to meet someone local. That would be a real mistake. Obviously, we would love you to meet someone local, and we'll do our best to make that happen, but we can't guarantee it, and you shouldn't rely on that. And perhaps you're thinking, will it work? Well, remember, your thinking determines a lot of the results you get. So think positively, think it's going to happen, think you're going to be proactive, and I can assure you, you will get the results you want. You've heard quite a lot from me already. What are other people saying about Heavenly Partners? Now, there's a very quote that I put on the screen here. I'll let you have a read of it. So that really says a lot about our organisation and our input to you. There's another one here I'd like you to have a quick read of. And a final one there. Now, obviously, it's not just all about me. It's about my team as well, but I lead that team very actively, and we get some great feedback about other members of our team as well. And you can read lots and lots and lots of feedback about the organisation on our website. And I would encourage you to do that. So who is Heavenly Partner suited to? If you've tried online dating without success, then I would definitely say you're for us. If you're someone who realises it's not that simple meeting someone else, or if you're someone who wants a more refined choice of members, and if you're someone who's committed to the process and want to find like-minded people who are also committed, and if you're someone who values and wants the support we can offer, I can just assure you, you won't be wading through thousands and thousands of people. You won't be finding people with us who aren't Christians. There won't be any fly-by-nighters if you join us. We only really want the right type of people, genuine members who are committed to the process and who are looking to meet someone. If you think you don't need any support at all and therefore there's no point joining us, I would really question that. I've worked for years with people who've looked so competent, who think they've got it all sorted, and actually they haven't in terms of dating. I'm not sure there's anybody who I would say who doesn't need support in this area of their lives. I'm not saying you might need a lot of help, but having the support is really, really important. It does make a difference. I would caution you, however, not to go forward and not even to consider Heavenly Partners if you're looking for entertainment to while away the lonely nights. Don't also think about joining us if you are not in your life with a fellow Christian, if that isn't important to you. And if you're not serious about making this a success, then please don't waste our time or your time. Also, don't even come any further if you're not willing to invest in your future. This is an investment in your future. And again, I would say if it's not a priority for you to find a soulmate, then you're probably wasting your time. And if you're not interested in any form of commitment, and you're not interested in having personal contact and support through your journey, then perhaps we're not the right organisation for you. And certainly, if you're expecting a quick fix and instant results, though you might get them, I'm not guaranteeing it, but I think if you're looking for a quick fix, then that probably isn't going to be, we're probably not going to be the right organisation for you. And if you're not prepared to put some effort into the process, then again, we're probably not the right organisation for you. Now, there are exceptions. As we mentioned, Jill, who married Chris, she met Chris in her very first month. But that's quite unusual. It can happen, but it's quite unusual. If, however, you value the input of a team with great experience and you're open-minded and you're committed to your future and you know you want to try something that's truly different and you really want to find someone special in your life, then I would say Heavenly Partners is at the right place for you to turn. Now, I've put a code, a website address there. That is that you can find all the different membership options and sign up. And I'm going to give you an offer at the end, and you need to use this promo code. So just in case you were thinking of leaving the webinar at this point, make sure you stick in the webinar code, because I have got a really great offer for you, which I'm going to just tell you in a minute. I can see some people are heading over to that page now, so that's really great. If you want to head there and keep listening as you look at the membership option you're going to choose, that would be great. But let me tell you about the offers that I've got now. So these offers are only valid for the next 24 hours. If you like what I'm going to offer, make sure you sign up in the next 24 hours from this webinar. So if you join on Platinum, you'll get 4 additional coaching calls. That's 4 times 30-minute coaching calls, which is worth €420. So it's a big bonus there. If you join on Gold, you'll get 2 additional coaching calls of 30 minutes each. That's worth €210. And if you join on Silver, you'll get 2 extra pictures put on your profile. Now, the coaching calls really are are fabulous because they can move you forward if you're stuck, or you can take them at any time you want. They're completely different to our normal telephone support, and you'll get a lot of value out of those, I assure you. And if you just want to join on Silver, you will get the 2 extra pictures, and that's really worthwhile having 4 pictures on your profile. So the website address is there, and make sure you use that promo code to get those offers. So I can see some people, oh gosh, someone's joined. Thank you very much. That's wonderful. Now you probably want to know what happens next when you join. So you'll get if you've joined online, or you can ring us up and we can take a payment over the phone. As soon as that's happened, you will get a link to our electronic application form, and you'll fill that in and send it back to us, or you can fill in your paper profile if you've had a brochure through the post. You'll get a welcome call from our membership team to welcome you to Heavenly Partners, for them to start to get to know you. They'll ask for your identification, so we know that you are who you say you are. We'll then make arrangements for your professional photo shoot, and if that can't be done immediately, then you can send us pictures for us to use on your profile before the professional ones come. You'll then also receive a welcome pack through the post. It's a big manual packed full of useful information on how to make the most of your membership. And then at the beginning of the very next month, you'll receive your first set of profiles. So our profiles are done at the beginning of every month, so you'll get them within days or weeks, depending on which day you've joined on. And that is the start of your very exciting journey. We will be here to support you all the way, and you can then start contacting other members. Here's what you need to do next. Make a decision about the membership level that's right for you. Have a good look at all the features and benefits that are the paper form, providing your card details and your profile details, or the profile can be done at a later date, but if you've got that form, you might as well do it all together. Or you can join on our website. It's about the only thing you can do on our website, and we've talked about that electronic form coming to you. Now, if you want to take up the offer of the additional coaching calls or the photos that I mentioned as a result of being on this webinar, and put the webinar promo code in, then you do need to do that within the next 24 hours. Ring us up or make sure your paper form has arrived. You might need to ring us up and make sure that happens in the next 24 hours. So the important thing is make a decision today. Here's a great quote by Dale Carnegie: action breeds confidence and courage. Inaction breeds doubt and fear. If you want to conquer fear, don't sit at home and think about it. Go out and get busy. I love that quote. Make a decision. Even if it's a decision not to go ahead, make it. And if it is a decision to go ahead, that's a great decision. And here we go. If you want to join us, there's the website address again, and that is the promo code. I really hope that's been helpful. I'm going to go into the Q&A now. So thank you for the questions that you've been putting up. Let me just answer a few of those. So somebody's asked, how long does it take to get going? Well, it takes a couple of days to turn your profile around, to get your photographer's details, and get everything set up and looking really good, that you're happy with it, and your welcome pack to arrive. So, and then you'll get your first set of profiles, as I said, at the beginning of the following month. So not very long, but enough time to make sure things are done the right way, and that you're heading off in with the right tools and everything looking as it should. Another question, how long do I have to sign up for? So I hope I've made this clear. It is a minimum commitment of 1 year. That is, you pay a membership fee, it's a one-off fee, and it does last for a year. We don't do any shorter term memberships. If you want to have a chat to me about why that's the case, do ring me, but that is the case for all of our members, and in our all the years we've been operating, that has worked really, really well. Okay, somebody's asking me more about the Finding Someone Special toolkit. Thank you, that's a great question. And actually I want to give you an added bonus for holding on here, because I can see some more people are going online. But before you go, let me just tell you, I've got a little special offer for you if you hold on. The Finding Someone Special toolkit is it's a manual of great advice and direction about dating. It's got 13 chapters. It would take you a couple of months to read it all through, and it's got some really good advice of how to make the most of your dating journey and to be successful. So the benefit of staying on this webinar for this long is that if you join within the next 24 hours and pay annually, I'm going to give you the Finding Someone Special Toolkit totally free. It's normally £497, but it is a reward to you for making a decision straight away. So if you join within the next 24 hours of this webinar, and you pay annually, you will get the Finding Someone Special Toolkit thrown in. So it's a really fantastic little thank you for being on this webinar, and thank you for joining. And I think you will really, really appreciate it. So that's it, folks. That's the end of our webinar. I hope you found it useful. We've covered a lot of ground. I've run over time slightly, for which I'm sorry about, but I hope and trust I've given you lots of food for thought, given you some insight into dating, given you some options. And if you decide Heavenly Partner is for you, we will really look forward to welcoming you. So goodbye for now, and God bless.